Welcome to Module 6, Handling Challenging Situations. In this module, we will focus on how to manage difficult or sensitive email conversations professionally and confidently. We'll begin by looking at common challenging email scenarios you may face at work, such as conflicts, delays, misunderstandings, or urgent requests. Next, we'll discuss general principles that help you stay calm, respectful, and solution-focused, even in stressful situations. We'll then walk through specific scenarios and explore how to respond effectively using the right language, tone, and structure. Finally, we'll wrap up with quick, practical tips you can apply immediately when handling challenging emails in your day-to-day work. By the end of this module, you'll feel more prepared to respond thoughtfully and professionally, even in the most challenging email situations. Common challenging email scenarios. Let's begin by identifying some common challenging email situations you may face in the workplace. These situations often test your communication skills and professionalism. You may need to respond to criticism or complaints while staying calm and respectful. At times, you might have to handle misunderstandings or miscommunications that arise due to unclear messages. There are also situations where you need to decline a request or say no without sounding rude or dismissive. Following up on overdue responses or pending actions can be tricky, especially when you want results without creating pressure. And finally, you may encounter emails that come across as rude or unprofessional, requiring a thoughtful and measured response. Learning how to handle these scenarios effectively can help you maintain strong professional relationships and avoid unnecessary conflict. General principles for handling challenging situations. No matter how difficult the situation is, a few core principles can help you handle challenging emails effectively. First, stay calm and professional. Even if an email feels unfair or emotional, avoid reacting immediately. Taking a short pause before responding can prevent misunderstandings. Next, acknowledge the issue. Let the recipient know that you've understood their concern or feedback. A simple acknowledgement helps reduce tension and shows respect. Third, be solution-oriented. Instead of focusing on who is at fault, shift the conversation toward resolving the issue and moving forward together. It's also important to use polite and neutral language. Avoid defensive or accusatory statements, and choose words that keep the conversation constructive. Finally, keep your email brief and clear. Address the main points directly without adding unnecessary details, so the message stays focused and effective. Remember, when faced with challenging email situations, it's essential to remain calm and professional, even if the message feels unfair or rude. Begin by acknowledging the issue to show understanding, then focus on being solution-oriented rather than assigning blame. Always use polite and neutral language to avoid escalation, and keep your response brief, clear, and to the point. By applying these principles consistently, you can navigate difficult conversations with empathy and maintain a respectful, constructive tone in all your professional communication. Specific scenarios and how to handle them. Let's look at a common challenging situation and how to handle it professionally. First situation, responding to criticism or complaints. In this scenario, you receive criticism or a complaint about your work. The challenge here is responding without becoming defensive or emotional. The first step is to acknowledge the feedback. Thank the sender for sharing their concerns, as this shows openness and professionalism. Next, seek clarification. Asking for specific details helps you understand the issue clearly and respond appropriately. Finally, offer a solution and a timeline. This reassures the recipient that you are taking responsibility and working toward resolution. The example email shows this approach in action. It begins by thanking the recipient, acknowledges the issue, politely asks for more details, and expresses a clear intention to resolve the matter promptly. This kind of response helps turn criticism into a constructive conversation. Now let's look at another common scenario, handling misunderstandings or miscommunications. In this situation, The challenge is that a client has misunderstood your earlier message and responded negatively. Instead of reacting defensively, the key is to respond with clarity and reassurance. Start by politely acknowledging the confusion and offering a clarification. A simple apology helps reset the tone and shows professionalism. Next, reaffirm your intentions. Let the recipient know that your goal is alignment and mutual understanding, not conflict. In the example email, the message calmly apologizes for the confusion, clearly restates the correct information, and invites confirmation. This approach helps ease tension and brings the conversation back on track. Let's move to another important scenario, politely declining a request. In this situation, the challenge is being asked to take on a task that you are unable to handle. Saying no can feel uncomfortable, but it can be done professionally and respectfully. Start by showing appreciation. Thank the person for considering you, which helps maintain a positive tone. Next, decline the request politely and briefly explain the reason without over-justifying. Whenever possible, offer an alternative, such as suggesting another person or a different solution. The example email demonstrates this approach clearly. It thanks the sender, communicates the inability to take on the task, and provides a helpful alternative. This ensures the message remains respectful while setting clear boundaries. Now let's look at how to follow up on overdue responses or pending actions in a professional way. The challenge here is reminding someone without sounding pushy or impatient. The key is to keep the tone polite, respectful, and clear. Begin with a courteous opening to set a positive tone. Next, reference your original email so the recipient has context. Then, clearly specify the next step by asking for an update and mentioning a reasonable deadline. In the example email, the message remains calm and professional, clearly states the purpose of the follow-up, and offers support if additional information is needed. This approach helps move things forward while maintaining a good working relationship. Let's look at the final scenario, addressing rude or unprofessional behavior. The challenge here is responding to an aggressive email without escalating the situation. It's important to stay calm and avoid matching the sender's tone. Focus on keeping your response professional and respectful. You can gently set boundaries by emphasizing respectful communication while steering the conversation back to the actual issue. Rather than addressing the tone directly, concentrate on understanding and resolving the problem. In the example email, the response acknowledges the concern, redirects the discussion toward the issue, and invites collaboration. This approach helps de-escalate tension and keeps the conversation productive. Before we wrap up this module, here are a few quick tips to keep in mind when handling challenging email situations. Always take a moment to reflect before responding, especially if the message feels emotional or confrontational. A short pause can help you choose the right words. Avoid forwarding sensitive emails without permission, as this can damage trust and escalate issues unnecessarily. And finally, maintain a record of important communications. Keeping emails organized can be helpful if a situation needs to be reviewed or escalated later. These simple habits can go a long way in helping you handle difficult emails with confidence and professionalism. That brings us to the end of Module 6, Handling Challenging Situations. In this module, we explored common difficult email scenarios and learned practical principles for responding calmly and professionally. We also walked through specific real-life situations, including handling complaints, misunderstandings, follow-ups, and unprofessional behavior. By applying these strategies, you can manage challenging emails confidently, maintain professionalism, and turn difficult conversations into productive outcomes.